Anti-core, where we count apples, not cores.
In subtraction level 5, we are subtracting a single-digit number from a three-digit number. Here we have 833 minus 5. This isn't a lot different than subtracting a single-digit number from a two-digit number as we did in level 4. We start with subtracting the numbers in the ones column. 5 is greater than 3, so we're going to have to borrow from the 3 in the tens column. Borrowing 10 from the 3 in the tens column puts a 2 in the tens borrowing location and a 13 in the ones borrow location. We did not need to do anything with the 8 in the hundreds location, so there's nothing in the hundreds borrow location. Now we have 8 in the hundreds location, a 2 in the tens borrow location, and 13 in the ones borrow location. 13 minus 5 equals 8. So 8 is the answer in the ones answer location. We have no other numbers in the tens and hundreds column, so we can bring these numbers down to the tens and hundreds answer locations. So now we have the answer. 833 minus 5 equals 828. Here's another one. 807 minus 9. We start again by subtracting the numbers in the ones column. Since 9 is larger than 7, we're going to have to borrow from the tens column, except here we run into a little problem. How do we borrow from the 0 in the tens column? We do it by borrowing with zeros, or what is sometimes called borrowing across zeros. Since we can't borrow from the 0 in the tens column, what we do first is borrow from the 8 in the hundreds column. This would put a 10 in the tens borrow location. Now we have to borrow from this 10 in the tens borrow location for the ones borrow location. This leaves 9 in the tens borrow location, and the 10 we borrowed from the tens borrow location ends up here in the ones borrow location. So now we are left with a 7 in the hundreds borrow location, a 9 in the tens borrow location, and 17 minus 9 in the ones column. Subtracting the 17 minus 9 equals 8, which is the answer in the ones answer location. Without any other numbers in the tens column, we bring down the 9 from the tens borrow location here to the tens answer location, and without any other numbers in the hundreds column, we bring the 7 in the hundreds borrow location here. So now we have our answer. 807 minus 9 equals 798. Let's try another one. Let's try 104 minus 8. Again, we'll subtract the numbers in the ones column first, and since 8 is greater than 4, we'll have to borrow from the tens column. Since there's a 0 in the tens column, we have to borrow from the 1 in the hundreds column. Borrowing a 1 from the hundreds column leaves us a 0 in the hundreds column and a 9 in the tens column, since we're going to again borrow from the tens column to add 10 to the ones borrow location. So now we have 0 in the hundreds borrow location, 9 in the tens borrow location, and 14 minus 8 in the ones column. 14 minus 8 equals 6, which is the answer in the ones answer location. Without any other numbers in the tens column, we bring the 9 in the tens borrow location down here, and with a 0 in the hundreds borrow location, there's nothing to bring down to the hundreds answer location. Now we have our answer. So 104 minus 8 equals 96. Now on the app. Subtraction level 5 shows the two numbers we are subtracting and has areas to enter the answer in the ones, tens, and hundreds columns, and also has areas to enter numbers in the hundreds, tens, and ones borrowing locations. Here we have 201 minus 8, and we will start by subtracting the numbers in the ones column first. Since 8 is larger than 1, we will have to borrow from the 0 in the tens column. Since we can't borrow from the 0 in the tens column, we will have to borrow a 1 from the 2 in the hundreds column. Borrowing 1 from the 2 will leave a 1 in the hundreds borrow location. Touch the question mark in the hundreds borrowing location and the keyboard will pop up. Touch the 1 on the keyboard to enter a 1 in the hundreds borrowing location. The app will automatically cross out the 2 in the hundreds location so you don't have to. Now we need to move the 1 we borrowed from the 2 and the hundreds borrow location to the tens borrow location. Since we are borrowing across zeros to be able to subtract the numbers in the ones column, we need to put a 9 in the tens borrow location. Touch the question mark in the tens borrow location and then touch the 9 on the keyboard to put a 9 in the tens borrow location. The app will cross out the 0 in the tens column for you. Now we need to move the 10 we borrowed from the tens column to the ones borrow location, so add 10 to the 1 of the 201. Since 10 plus 1 equals 11, we need to put an 11 in the ones borrow location. Touch the question mark in the ones borrow location and then touch the 1 on the keyboard twice to put an 11 in the ones borrow location. Now we have a 1 in the hundreds borrow location, a 9 in the tens borrow location, and 11 minus 8 in the ones column. 11 minus 8 equals 3, which is the answer in the ones answer location. Touch the question mark in the ones answer location and then the 3 on the keyboard to put a 3 in the ones answer location. Since we do not have any numbers to subtract in the tens or hundreds column, we can now move the numbers in the tens and hundreds borrow locations to the tens and hundreds answer locations. Touch the question mark in the tens answer location and then the 9 on the keyboard to put a 9 in the tens answer location. Now touch the question mark in the hundreds answer location and then the 1 on the keyboard to put a 1 in the hundreds answer location. Now we have the answer. So 201 minus 8 equals 193. Touch the Enter key on the keyboard and the keyboard will disappear. And when you're ready, touch the Check key. The app will let you know if you got the answer right, and if not, give you the correct answer. Touch the Next key for the next problem, and when you think you're ready, touch the Quiz key to take the quiz and see if you're ready for Level 6.